well, Ham Fam. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Debbie.
I'm Darren.
And this is Victory.
It is.
You may worship
Hello,
me now,
Victor.
minions. I smell of cookies. He really does. He smells like cookies. It's really odd. I don't know whether it's a Russian thing or what, but he smells like cookies.
There you go.
You knew. Right, guys. I hope you've had as good a week as we have.
Yeah.
It's been really eventful. And by eventful, I've been doing loads of diamond painting. I've been sleeping a lot because it's caused pain. No, we've been good. Honestly, we have.
Yeah.
Playing with the hamsters mostly.
Yep.
Which is pretty much our life, really, isn't it?
Yep, it is. There he is.
Yes. I know. Yeah. Right. Do you want to go in your strawberry and eat a pretzel? Yeah? You go on then. Good lad.
Yeah, probably come out before you go.
Possibly not. Who knows? No, right, so what have we got for you first?
We've got Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
We've got Sherlock Holmes answers. I only had one person had a go at the Sherlock Holmes ones.
I know they feel.
Angela had a go at them. Shed.
Hang on. I've got the answer to the first one, I think, anyway.
Yep. Which was, the first one was cold hands.
Yes. I think it's to do with the moisture and speed. Because if you're blowing on your hand closer up, it's sort of faster than if it's further away. And I think it's the moisture and the speed that causes the difference. Number 2, I have absolutely nothing written down for, so, you know, just saying.
Yeah. The first one I think it's to do with the speed the air comes out at. The air comes out at. The second one.
He's so cute.
The only bit I could think it would do is possibly speed up at the equator, because it's a larger area, so it would be going faster. You would be spinning faster there than like any other place, because it's a larger area, so it has to spin faster to pick up speed.
I apologise for the packet, people, but
That's the only thing I can think of on that. As for it reversing, I didn't know it could. Because surely if it reverses, it has to stop. And if it has to stop, we all fly off the planet because nothing's creating gravity anymore.
I mean, I questioned, is it anything to do with, like, the one where you get a leap year every so many years?
4 years.
4 years.
No, because it's 365 and a quarter days per year.
Mm.
So after the 4 years, it's picked up. But yeah, so we'll look at the cold hands one.
You hungry, mate?
It says, there are 2 factors responsible for the cooling effect of vigorous breath. One is evaporation. As the air blows across your skin, high energy water molecules evaporate off. Oh, I didn't say what Angela said.
Oh.
The first one has got something to do with the speed and intensity at which you blow on your hand.
Yeah, which is...
She said on that one. For the second Holmes one, I don't think there's any difference, but it's over 20 years since I've done anything with physics. I understand that. Anyway, yes. It reduces the average energy of remaining molecules and brings down their temperature, cooling you. This process occurs more rapidly with harder breath.
I mean,
chiefly because the increased speed of air encourages more of your sweat to make the leap to the gaseous state. The other more minor factor is gaseous expansion. As the breath comes from between your pursed lips, it spreads out from that tight position you had it in. The act of occupying a greater space reduces its temperature for certain, somewhat abstract reasons. This means the air actually is a little cooler. But
that one, actually, it reminded me of that bit in Jurassic Park with Jeff Goldblum, and he uses a drop of water and the water rolls.
That's chaos theory.
Yeah, chaos theory. But it did remind me of that. It was sort of like, to be honest, yes. I love the Jurassic Park films.
There's a chaos theory. Because of little bumps and grooves, even though you think it's going to go the same way, it won't necessarily go again. Yeah, that's right. The other Sherlock one, the second one. We shall
Let's say second
put
one.
on the page. Oh, the second one, I think. The only bit it was like right near equator.
The simple reason is that I knew there was a very good chance all I'd do was tie myself in knots, because these ones in this book seem to be a lot more difficult, and they're more precise on certain things, I suppose, is the way of putting it.
I think they go with what the names are to do with them. So,
right. Actually.
Right. So this one was Solaris. Since the sun appears to rise in the east, the Earth revolves counterclockwise on its axis. So at true midnight by local time, the Earth is spinning you in exactly the same direction as it is moving around the sun. And at true midday, it's spinning you in exactly the opposite direction. Alright. Therefore, you're going faster at midnight. At a point near the equator, less you move towards the poles, your speed varies by about 0.3 miles per second. Either way from Earth's base speed of around 18 miles per second around the sun. But don't worry, the sun itself, well, our solar system obviously, is moving at around 500 miles per second through the universe. So your variation in speed is quite minor. So I was right in part of that.
So that's how Santa makes it around the world then.
That's right.
Sherlock solved Santa.
That's right.
Who knew? But no, and say they've been good little puzzles, and say they're on the more awkward side, admittedly, some of them, but yeah,
right,
it gives you opportunity anyway of getting your teeth into it. Right, now then, as always, let's start it off with a title.
Yep.
Victor's ball's trying to run after me. Right. Last week was aglet, which of course is the little plastic thing at the end of your shoes. Right. Anyone idea on how to pronounce that? Apathungs?
Apathungs?
Silent letters in words such as no and psychology.
Alright.
Oh, right, okay. So they're, because you can't, okay, with you.
Yeah, apathungs, I guess, yeah. Yeah, silent letters.
I admit to you that I mean, I could just pick ones at random, but to be fair, I just figure that, I'll hit one that, is useful at some point.
Yeah.
Right. Last week where it reminded me of something.
Right.
Right,
We're going for the first Sherlock puzzle? Yeah, from the Fiendish Puzzles.
Don't you start with me.
Right. This one is called Dedication. Dedication, that's what you need. I took the opportunity over a luncheon of Miss Hudson's fine ham and sliced tomatoes to take my turn in throwing a little unexpected riddle at Holmes. He was amused, if hardly baffled, so I feel it may be of some entertainment to you. There is a shop which is devoted to the sale of one particular staple of daily life. It sells many varieties of a particular device, all of which serve exactly the same broad purpose. Some of these varieties are made up of tens of thousands of individual moving pieces, whilst others consist of less than 20 such parts. A few are completely solid, immobile throughout, and yet still function as well as the most complex. They may likewise range in size from taller and heavier than a man down to being less than the size of a fingernail, but the very tiniest can still have more separate moving parts than the largest. Can you guess the identity of this device? Yes, I can. Yeah. After about the first line, I think.
I can. Whether or not I'm right is another matter.
No.
But, it's what I think first off, and that's how I usually take it on this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right, and we've got Cunning Puzzles, this one.
Do you normally do two at the same time? Or?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
I can put one of yours in between if you want.
No, it's alright.
Go on, bang one of yours in. Go on, go for it. Bung yours in, go for it.
Right.
What do you want? Do you want a booky one? A anagram?
I'll do a book one. Right, black cats rats and evil eyes, which is the old-fashioned superstitions. We're not having Goldilocks this week, which is a polite way of me saying one of the words, because we've got Pop Goes the Weasel this week.
Yep. And we've got lots and lots of questions.
Walking under ladders.
Ooh.
This superstition is one of the most widely adhered to in the modern age, and one of many that have been appropriated over time by the Church. While many of the beliefs we might call superstitions today have their roots in practice of religion, the Church itself holds that superstition is sinful. That's right, they do, don't they? Yeah. Marking a deviation from the worship of God and giving credence to the occult. The practices of walking around ladders, however, is deemed not to warrant the label of superstition, since it is done in the interest of preserving something the Bible itself calls sacred. A ladder placed on level ground and leaning against a wall forms a triangular shape. The triangle was sacred because of the representation of the Holy Trinity of Father, Son and Holy Spirit. Walking through the centre of the triangle was akin to breaking the Holy Trinity and violating God. I did not know that. No.
They're only using that because it's stupid to walk underneath a ladder because there's a good chance something's going to drop on you.
Which was blasphemous and therefore sinful. So if you walk under a ladder, you're a braver man than me, Gungadin, because I can guarantee something would fall on me.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Or you'd end up kicking the blooming thing and it'd knock somebody off flying.
Yeah.
But it's actually considered sinful. In fact, the triangle has been symbolic of life since ancient Egypt times, and disrupting a sanctine symbol. Can't get my teeth around that one. Was seen in the earlier civilizations as tempting fate. Even in our secular age, it seems like an unnecessary risk to walk under a ladder from which the pot of paint or scaffolder who's lost his balance might easily fall. This is the thing, isn't it?
That's right. That's like you wouldn't just common sense you would walk under it.
There is an alternative source for this superstition, however, the medieval gallows. Until the late 1800s, the short drop method was used for hangings, which meant that prisoners were hanged from a cart or simply made to step off a ladder with the hangman's noose around their neck, which usually resulted in death by strangulation. Later, when the new drop gallows were introduced, which caused a quicker death by breaking the prisoner's neck,
that's right,
ladders were propped up against them so prisoners could climb to the scaffold ready for the drop. They were used again by the executioner when bodies were collected. It was widely believed that the souls of those who had been executed loitered under the ladder. Some of their crimes made them unfit for heaven, so it was inviting misfortune of those most grisly kind to walk under one and mingle with them. So yeah, I mean, I had no idea. I thought it was going to be quite a simple one. That I thought, I knew the whole back of that, but I mean, I'm not being funny. I mean, the pyramids are amazing. Of course, now they've got dirty nappies and tourism too much, basically, and it's just full of rubbish. But the amount of ingenuity in them was amazing. But who thought, let's make a building triangular? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I just think how easy it would have been if they'd have tried a square or a rectangle or something.
They make buildings that time, what shape.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's pointing to the sun as well, isn't it? And I'm sure there's...
they had sun gods and all sorts of bits, didn't they? Right. We've got the cunning puzzles one. Yeah. A worship of writers. During the adventure of the third carriage, we found ourselves attempting to unravel the specific details of a collection of writers who came by train into London. The six of them entirely filled one compartment of the carriage. It seems they were in 2 rows of 3 facing each other. The facts that we managed to glean from the ticket inspector and others passer-by are these. The 6 men were called Tompkins, Archer, Squires, Whiteley, Appleby and Garner. Between them, their specialities covered short stories, histories, humour, novels, plays and poetry, and each was reading the latest work of one of the others in the carriage. Squires was reading the work of the person sitting opposite him. Tompkins, who's not the historian, it's the logic one, this one we're going to have to write down. Yeah. Tompkins, who was not the historian, was reading a volume of short stories. Archer, the novelist's brother-in-law, was sitting between the humorist and the short story writer, who in turn was opposite the historian. Whiteley was reading a play and sitting opposite the novelist. Appleby, reading the humorous book, was next to the playwright. Tompkins was sitting in a corner. Gardner, finally, hated poetry. Who was a novelist? Yeah, so that's a logic one. This is one that's I'm gonna have to write out on paper.
Whereas I will take a punt. I'll get down to read out the names again in a little bit. After you've left us and I end up watching more junk TV. Yeah. And I'll pick one at random because although I can do
Grand National
like that, I just don't feel like it tonight. So I just,
Yeah.
And with me trying to craft everything in sight at the moment, I mean, it's a wonder Darren hasn't been bejazzled or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, although to be fair, when I go into doing the big art projects with the diamond painting and that, the drills, we find them everywhere. It's like Dr. Dot. I find them in bed, find them on various body parts as well. Even the hamsters have been known to get diamonded. So, Right, so I will give us give us the other write-up bit. Then I'll do the anagram.
Yeah.
And then it's question and answer time, baby. I've just picked up the same book as I've read to you. That really is stupid, isn't it? Never mind. So what nursery rhyme are we going for today? Oh, crikey, that's a long one.
That's what she said.
I may have to start taking pencil to these so I can underline bits. I hate drawing in books, that's the only thing.
Write out the bits you need.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, we're going to skip that because we have got a lot of questions today, actually. So I'm going to give you the anagram. And
the anagrams. Both Amy and Lolly Wayne got it.
I got as well. I had to check for you about one though because I had to get Darren to spell it for me. Because I thought it was that, but I wasn't sure whether or not I was spelling it right.
They were apparition and broomstick.
They were, yes. I thought you were going to let me answer. I took a breath. I went to say, in my book. Look, it's in my book.
Yeah.
But yeah, admittedly, the Not Bed Knobs one, when I read it again afterwards, it was
that was
obvious.
Because I got that from the book without even looking at it because it's bed knobs and broomsticks. Go on, wreck the place. Go on.
Sorry, people. Right, so you want today's? Hang on, because I like. Right, hang on. We've had 4, haven't we? Whoops.
Yep.
You're going to have to read it. I can't.
Rural peanuts and otherworldly experience.
Yeah.
An Agent Verso. A burial monument.
Burial monument?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, no, the second one is.
Don't know. I'll go back to them. Right, so good luck with the anagrams, people.
Yep.
Obviously, just pick and choose. It's only for fun.
Yeah, it's a
you
bit
get
of
to hear the answer a bit later on.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's been more of an excuse, really, for us to natter with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. I had a private message from someone last week worried that they'd asked I only give away what I want to give away, and the only reason that I mentioned that I had lost a partner was because otherwise the whole brain function of how me and Darren got together wouldn't have necessarily made sense. But no, I was not. I'm perfectly comfortable in saying that, but I won't go more into the other side of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
First question. This is an easy one. It's Angela Chambers. She says, "Can you let me know where you get your hairband? I love the ones with the little creatures on them."
Yes, I can actually. But while I look that up, what I'll do actually is I'll get Darren to answer that on. We can reply, can't we, on the bits that people write to us?
Yeah.
I'll get Darren to reply with the link and whatnot because I use different ones.
There's
and
places on AliExpress, mostly.
That's right. Yeah, it does. It's they don't come overnight, but they're I will only give you places that I have been happy with, not the ones that have cocked up on orders and such like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have not had any problems with those ones actually. I must admit, the animal ones.
No. You got Lily Ween. Right, my question. What's the most hamsters you've had at one time? I've had 6 cats once, but never again.
7. To be fair,
we were looking after 2.
We were looking after 2. So the most we've had of our own have been 5. Started
wasn't
off with
5.
No, it was 6, wasn't it? Because we hand trained.
Yeah,
I was hand training one for
a friend of ours,
and her little boy was turning the same age as I was, turning 7, I think, when I got my first hamster, and I knew the child very well, and we had a discussion with. I discussed it with his mum first. And we hand trained him, and
Herbie
was very well loved. Yeah, little black and white Syrian, and he chose name. Little boy chose name, but obviously I'm not giving children's names out because I'm not entirely. I haven't got permission from parents, so.
He's not a child anymore.
No, he's
bloody adult now.
He's now 18 and probably got one.
Oh, he's probably older than 18 now, isn't he? Yeah. But no,
I don't know. I feel ancient.
Yes, most we had was we looked after him
We looked after my sister-in-law's 2 Russian hamsters.
Yeah, who were Winter and Ghost.
They were named after the Game of Thrones bitch, you know.
Direwolves.
Direwolves from that, and they
we
were
also,
lovely.
At the time when we looked after them for a couple of weeks, we also had 3 Syrians.
We had 3 Syrians and 2 robots.
2 robots because they were in separate cages then, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. We had to separate the robots. I think Darren said.
Yeah, we said about it before. We did.
But I couldn't get rid of either of them. I wasn't prepared to. I mean, we spent a long talk with. I was on the phone.
And we had a spare
at home for ages.
We had a spare cage at your mum and dad's.
Yeah.
We kept up in the loft,
so we went
and got that.
I'd rather give up my coffee table than have him.
Which we did.
Leave from us because it was horrendous. I did have a cockatiel once, you see, who mum and dad have still got because he hated me. Anyway, right, what's the next question?
Right. The next question is from Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's got lots and lots of questions.
That's all right, we like questions.
So, a lot of questions, so feel free to pick and choose or carry some over for next week, too.
No, go for them.
Right. Question time this week. Have you always both lived in Brighton Hove? I've never lived in Brighton or Hove.
No, you haven't.
No. I used to live.
I was born in Brighton.
You were born in Brighton Hospital, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you grew up in Hove.
To give you an idea, the the marina. Was it the marina or was it something else?
Right.
I don't know. I can't remember now. My mum said to me when I was in hospital with septicemia and a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
She said to me about something was being built that she could see from the maternity bit. I think it was a marina.
Possibly could have been. It would have only been part of it.
Yeah.
Because I
She said
went
she
there
was
with
in
powerboat
hospital
racing, but
giving birth to me
you used to
when
be able to
that
see the
went
seals
on.
over the top.
But no, she, yeah. So,
you grew up
I
in
grew
Hove.
up in Hove. I actually, I loved it. Hove. Hove Park round the corner, amazing park. Used to be such a large forest area in there, and then after the hurricane, my nan came home crying, bless her.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of years ago. My nan died.
It was 1987. It was August 87.
That's right.
That's when the hurricane was. I grew up in Shoreham by Sea.
Yeah.
Along the road there, and that was So,
funnily enough,
I was born in Shoreham Hospital.
My first boyfriend was as well, and he went to the same school as you.
I started up until I was nearly 5. I was in Mile Oak, which is in Port Slade, and then my parents moved to Shoreham by Sea, and I lived there until we both moved out here together.
Yeah, his mum followed us out here eventually, which is New Haven, but you know.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, we considered different things. We really we toyed with the idea of possibly becoming pub landlords.
Yeah.
Which
gave up that idea.
We sort of dismissed the idea on that, which I'm really pleased we did, because after having the shop, you don't realise actually it might be a dream, but there's so much headache and everything is down. You know, you don't stop really.
So we were thinking of having a shop in Devon as well.
Yes. Oh, that would have been amazing, but we couldn't.
We didn't want to be that far away from my parents.
Because this is it. I mean,
because at the time my mum lived in Shoreham still.
Yeah.
And there, your mum and dad still lived in Hove.
They did. Where it was
and even though
it's
only along the coast, it's about 8 hours drive from Devon, and if something happens, that's a long way back.
But my heart is always. I'll always have
my
heart in Devon. I mean, we used to go to a family farm. If you're interested in that, ask and I will tell next week or what have you. But it's. I've got some good stories.
Remember we asked that when we were in Ilfracombe. We asked that copper if there's a good place to open a shop, and she said no. Okay.
Because you go places and
he said there's a lot of drug problems here. All right, okay. Cheers.
But you see, I mean, I go to Great Torrington. I mean, most of the time we used to go every year, and it's something I shared with my late partner. It's something I shared with Darren. So the two most important men in my life, I have shared that with. So it holds a lot of memories. And the first time I went, technically, my mum was 6 months pregnant with me. Yeah. So. Yeah.
But so one of my friends was out here in Peacehaven, out here.
He's lovely.
He had a place out here. He was moving in with his girlfriend. So he rented a place out to us.
Female firefighter.
We've currently been here. Come July, we would have been here.
We've lived here longer than he has.
18 years.
His flat. Yeah.
He only lived here for 4 years. So we've lived here 18. So yeah.
I mean, do you remember when we first started? I mean, it took us ages to get everything upstairs, and we had very little furniture.
Place was almost empty.
We sort of increased the furniture no end because obviously we're closing down the shop and that we've got even more items than we had before.
When we had the shop.
I've got the lovely glass cabinets and that. It's horrible.
We was in the shop. It was like, it looks like it's nearly empty. It's not that bad. But the shop area outside, not including the storeroom and bits, was 45 foot by 22 foot.
And these are
So
large
it
flats.
looked like it was almost nothing in there until you moved all the stuff in. We had all the stuff piled in front of our wardrobes. We got a walk-in wardrobe bit, and we had it in the bath. We had it in the kitchen. We had it all stacked up around a bit. We had a little bit to walk through in the front room.
Yeah, I mean,
we had stuff up by the windows.
This was before
we had stuff down the hallways.
It was a nightmare. I mean, you sort of, but then saying that, I mean, we still got stock up here, although some of the bits we want to get to are actually over mum and dad's, and it's sort of like the stuff at your mum's as well, so it's sort of like you borrow a lot of space basically. But I mean, we're full, and I keep finding more projects that I want to do and bits, so it is what it is. What's the next question anyway? Because I veered.
Yeah. To follow on from Halloween, touched upon in Vlogmas, quite a fantastic wedding. Can you tell us more about that? Did you go on honeymoon? If so, where?
Our wedding, we wanted to reflect us. And the thing is, what we didn't realise at the time is, because if you've probably noticed with me talking, I'm quite disjointed. So the thing is, I mean, I've always been a little bit on the disjointed side, but neither of us realised how much we had been, because certain people were only getting told certain aspects.
Yeah.
And when it was a Brighton racecourse, and it was essentially, I mean, it's
it's an empty room.
It's an empty room, basically. Right. So excuse the dust, people.
Right. Right, go on then. It's an empty room.
So it's an empty room, and we were quite fortunate with the lady we spoke to first. The woman that took over from her was blooming awful. But we were quite fortunate with the woman that we spoke to, and she had a lot of contacts. And believe me, these people, if they've got contacts, it's worth using them. It's always worth searching around as well, but it's worth using them. And they had a company called Decorum.
They did up nightclubs.
Yeah, they did up nightclubs with these fantastical sort of things. And we wanted a medieval theme. Well, we didn't want to go for a castle. For the simple thing is,
castles didn't hold a lot of people.
No, they didn't hold a lot of people at all.
And then you had to go from there to have something to eat afterwards. So you had to then rent another place to have receptions and everything else in it.
I mean, some of them you can get double trouble, as it were, but
you can get bits now.
You can now, more so, but we were doing a themed wedding a lot earlier than most people.
Right, so you've got Baron, this is 2005.
Yeah.
This was so.
But no, I had a theatrical dressmaker make my wedding dress, and Darren's tunic, the best man, the page boys. We had 8 page boys, I believe.
Yeah.
One flower girl. And your cousin or aunt or great aunt or great cousin?
Cousin's wife.
Yeah. She made the bridesmaid dresses, and the matron of honour's dress, and our toastmaster was Merlin.
Yeah.
And she made a fantastic cloak for him, but bless him, Dr. Paul, he got a wig. He got a wig and a beard. I mean, he threw himself into it.
He looked like Aussie.
So I'd say I'm probably about the only bride that was walked up the aisle, followed by with a flower girl with like a ring of natural like flowers sort of thing, circular thing. I don't know. But all the headdresses were made of like natural bits, or they were ones my mum or my mum or my mother-in-law made. My mother-in-law, she made 9 different outfits, wasn't it? Because she made hers and my mum's outfit.
Yeah.
And my Uncle Alan's, my dad's. I mean, everybody went absolutely nuts. And not only that, there were more of our friends that dressed up than didn't.
Yeah.
By far. They really, I mean, everybody pulled out the bag. And I mean, so my dad walked in the room.
This is what we got on the side. That's why he was like Merlin and matron of honour and a bridesmaid in the centre. So that's us, young us, cutting the cake.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't got my sword on there.
No, I got him a sword as a wedding present. It was a proper prop one, not, you know.
Well, that's the bit behind the. We had a false wall behind there.
It was
with flames coming up,
flame lanterns. We even had a water feature in there, and it was all sorts of things. But it looked amazing. It was so beautifully done, and the florist I used were the same one that my nan used to work for. And I mean, bless him, the florist is still there, but he's been taken over by some of his original workers.
Part of the back bit there was Debbie's dad. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they went absolutely out of town. I mean, I'd love to be able to show you the bit where the camera pans around the room, but it depends whether Darren can remove the music from that or not, as to whether you can see it and put on music that you are allowed to have. Yeah. Because that's not actually on people, that's just purely on the room. Yeah. And so they did such a good job. And because, I mean, both of us smoked back then as well, and quite a few of our friends did, and we knew that although we didn't have smoking in there during the meal bit, because there were children there, what we did was, the room we had the ceremony in, we hired a magician that could do, well, a magic guy that could do magic, and he could also do like balloon swords and things like that. So basically, that point in the night before the kids went home, when everybody decided to light up, it just seemed prudent to us.
When we had all the speeches going on, they all went into the room where we hired to get married.
Yeah.
And he entertained them, which was great because the kids got their own fun.
Kids pretty much went home with grandparents or what have you, because obviously by then it had got later on in the day and bits like that. But we wanted to have something for them as well, because I mean, it's a lot to have patience for, bless them.
We had the evening bit. Now I don't remember. We never saw the
buffet. I know the buffet was popular because every single person that went.
It all went.
There wasn't even a sausage roll left, if you know what I mean.
But we had.
I insisted on it being traditional party food.
Yeah.
Not all this fancy frou-frou stuff.
But for people who aren't really keen on people. Okay, so I'm keen on people. That sounds really nasty. Debbie was more sociable than I was, but we had 81 people to the actual wedding and the meal, and we had over 250 people in the evening.
And so we had cake with a dragon on it. I don't know whether you said about that, which our friend's mum made.
Yeah.
There was, it was all different things. But we wanted something that was us. We had a candle lighting ceremony, our variation of it, admittedly.
Yeah. For people who couldn't be with us.
Yeah, I mean, it was I suppose, our first bit of spell work, really.
Yeah, because
we wanted to welcome them in, basically.
We lost all our grandparents before we met each other.
I mean, we married on what would have been my nan's birthday. That was important to me. We actually waited an extra year, really, of prep time, so we could do that on the Saturday, because she was such a huge part of my life, and it's not something I've ever really fully come to terms with. And, you know, it's sort of one of those things. There are certain things I find very hard to let go. And it's just the way I am, unfortunately. But I've seen a lot of death, which is the biggest problem. So.
Yeah. And so honeymoon.
Honeymoon we went
to Orlando.
Florida. Before Harry Potter World was in.
Yeah, I know.
We did see one of the Harry Potter films. It came out while we were over there.
Goblet of Fire.
My God, that was an eye-opener, people. If you ever go... I mean, the seats are amazing. But honestly, the popcorn thing was really difficult to get over.
Oh, they pumped
hot
liquid butter into it. You saw these families pumping it in. I mean,
you're given plain popcorn.
Yeah, which the tub was bigger than
between a massive great
tub was
I know, it was like, honestly, I've never seen anything like it. There was a great big salt cellar, so you could empty half a pot of salt into it, about £3 worth of salt or something. Or there were people, and they were standing there at these pump things,
but it wasn't butter. It was like an orangey yellow substance that was coming out.
Really, I'm sure.
And we bought a Coke.
People like it, but no.
We bought a Coke between the two of us. That must have been like Christmas. It must have been at least half a gallon.
And it was like a bucket.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that much smaller than the popcorn.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest,
but we had fun there.
It was fun.
Great.
It was a lot more different. And I mean, now I can't go into cinemas because I can't sit up that long anyway. Plus, I have a nasty habit of once I get into my head, and pardon me saying this, once I get into my head that I can't go for a wee somewhere, I inevitably want to. So yeah, I lost about 24 minutes the last time I went and saw Harry Potter at the cinema. So
yeah, the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And that was a nightmare. So I had to wait until it came out to watch.
Bloody cold in there as well.
Yeah. that was another thing that kept making me want to wee.
Yeah.
Sorry about this, people, but there you go. I mean, you sort of get what you get with us, really.
We've also got this week got a few questions around Harry Potter. What is your house?
Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Although technically, I still say I'm a bit of everything.
Mine is Slytherin.
I think personally,
obviously.
Yeah. Personally speaking, I'm not ashamed to admit that I think the Sorting Hat would have trouble with me because I have aspects of all of it. The intelligence side with Ravenclaw is probably the one that I'm least au fait with. But then I don't think normally. I'm pretty intelligent about some things that I know, but not about things I don't.
But mind you, in the books, Hermione wouldn't have been in Gryffindor.
No,
she would have been in Ravenclaw. She was too booky.
But then she was incredibly brave. I mean, she didn't question. But then nobody can say that Luna wasn't brave. I love Luna.
No, but I say, and the Weasley brothers, the twins, they would have probably been an Hufflepuff.
They would so have been a crush. That and Victor Crumb. But honestly, no. I mean, I love those guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite student?
Can I have boy and girl?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm going to anyway because I don't care. Right. My favourite female student is Luna.
Yeah.
Because I'm most like her. Or I can relate to her best, if that makes sense. I'm not particularly good with books and exams. Well, I love my books, but I'm not particularly good with exams. I go into panic freefall. Yeah. But no, definitely Luna. I love Hermione. In fact, I like most of the characters, to be honest. But no, it'd have to be Luna. And for the boys, and I say boys because it has to be Fred and George for me every time. I love them. I love their humour. I think they are so wicked. I love the fact they've got, they think outside. But again, it's more what I can relate to. And actually, one of my old school friends that I sort of occasionally say hi to and that on Facebook, he really reminds me of one of them. So, yeah.
No, mine would be... excuse me. So my favourite one, female one, would be Luna. Again, because she's nuts. And she's she's so lovely and thoughtful.
She doesn't care about what anybody thinks. She
No.
goes on her own route, and that is it.
Yeah. And my favourite male one.
I love Neville as well. Mine. Sorry.
Would possibly be Neville.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't know you were going to say that. I never really see. I always
Neville.
knew that
I like Neville because of the bit in the last film. He's my favourite bit in the last film. Where he's got this whole army standing opposite him, and he goes, "Yeah, you and whose army?"
That's really Darren's humour.
Yeah,
so you got to say
yeah.
But no, I think his growth arc as well. It was incredible, and I must admit the death that affected me most of all was Fred dying. I was in floods over that. I didn't like the fact Dobby died, but sorry, spoiler alert. Yeah. But no, when Fred died, I was heartbroken.
No spoiler alert on that. No.
Sorry about that.
But actually, my another one of my favourite lines in it is bit from the Weasley twins. It's in Goblet of Fire. and he goes, they're taking bets on it. 4 go down, will 4 come back up?
What's the next question?
Right, favourite teacher?
Oh, McGonagall. I love Snape, but McGonagall, I think she is absolutely amazing. Yeah. I love her. I wish we knew more about her character. Yeah. I'm hoping that Fantastic Beasts are going to touch on it, or if they've else, sort of touched.
They've sort of touched her being there, haven't they?
But it isn't just that. I mean, Maggie Smith, I love. She is my favourite person in Downton Abbey as well. Her humour and I've seen her in so many films, and she never disappoints. She is one amazing woman. Yeah.
My favourite teacher in it is probably going to be Snape, because I love the dry wit. It's great.
Now that's one of my favourite clips. Is when you've got Harry and Ron, and they're discussing. That was in Goblet of Fire, because they were discussing about dates with Fred
for the
and George.
ball.
And anyway, they were sort of like going on about we'll do it whenever, and you've got Snape in the background, and he's sort of like, and he races up, gets his old sleeves up. I mean that for me was blinking wonderful. I mean, I absolutely love it. It doesn't matter what crafting I'm doing. If I've got Harry Potter in the background and that's coming up, that is one of those times. And plus, there's something really, really cute about Fred and his old wink, his cheeky little wink, which is in the same bit. But yeah.
Favourite adult? Dumbledore's army, etc.
My favourite adult is Arthur Weasley or Molly Weasley, but Arthur more so slightly. But then again, I love Molly as well. Yeah,
so I would have to go with Arthur or Molly. Probably closer to Molly.
It's the bit in the film, isn't it? At the end, it's sort of like, get away from my daughter, you person.
Yeah, but I also love the bit with him like that, because he was like the typical dad.
Bellatrix is my favourite Death Eater.
But his favourite, he's when they stole the car. I think they stole the car like that, and he was like the typical dad bit. So really? How did it run? Is it really good? And he was like,
actually, I was gutted because the bit where he asks Harry what the actual use of a rubber duck is. I really want to listen to that answer, But no, I think they are.
They tell you that on bottom. On bottom, they riot, and he steals a TV, and he steals a rubber duck with it. He said, what's the point of the rubber duck? Why rubber duck? He said, it came free with the telly. He said, everything came free with the telly. We were looting. We could have taken another telly. Why didn't you do that? He said, we would have sink in the bath.
I like that. But no, as you can tell, I am potty on. But as I said, if it's favourite Death Eater, it's Bellatrix. Again, I really love her as an actress. I love Arthur Weasley as an actor, and Julie Walters, come on. I mean, I've seen
Well,
so many bits with
I like
him.
Sirius Black, but strangely enough, I only really liked Sirius Black before he was all goody goody sort of bit. But he was still like the unhinged sort of bit you didn't know about, because Gary Oldman's acting's brilliant.
It is, yeah.
And he plays nutty and bits like that.
Well, the guy that
Afterwards, he was sort of, he's a bit. He wasn't the sort of bit, and he was like more sort of thinking he was his friend as opposed to his.
Yeah, but he played the character. I mean,
yeah. I preferred him when he was.
Yeah, but no, I mean, Lupin I love as well. I mean, the problem is there's so many characters in Harry Potter, but hands down, I mean, the Weasleys are, you know, I just really love them.
Right. Magical creature? It depends. If you're doing the whole thing with a Fantastic Beasts, it's got to be a Niffler.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. But if you're covering the books, Harry Potter actually covers the Niffler in that.
All right.
They actually Dean Thomas and Lee Jordan, I think, kept floating Niffler up to Umbridge's office in the books. This is. I love Fawkes. I have an obsession with Fawkes, actually. But if it's just a general and not a pet of the kids, I would say Buckbeak, because I love his royalty. I think he's an incredible animal. With out of the kids, if it's out of everything and only what was on the films, it would be Crookshanks. I love cats.
Mrs. Norris.
I love Mrs. Norris, but Crookshanks, that you get so much more about that cat in the books.
Yeah.
He is really a clever cat. Yeah. He's incredibly intelligent.
Well, Mrs. Norris, though, people reckon that it was his girlfriend.
And she wasn't much better at magic than he was.
And somehow she got stuck as a cat.
I say,
whether it was
whether it was
a spell that went wrong,
or if it was
it's just a fandom
thing.
But I quite like the book because it's why he had such a close connection to Mrs. Norris.
Although if you'd seen him in Game of Thrones, he didn't have a problem replacing wives.
No.
So, you know, cool.
Didn't like pies much, though.
Don't, because I'm not going to spoil it for them if they haven't seen it.
Right. Which is your favourite book, and if different, film?
My favourite book is Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, that's mine as well.
I love it.
All the extra stuff they've got in the maze.
Yeah, it's so involved.
Yeah.
I love that book. Prisoner of Azkaban's really good as well, but that book really...
Prisoner of Azkaban's my favourite film.
It's great.
It's when it started going darker.
Yeah. No, my favourite film is the last one. And probably one of the reasons for that is my favourite clip of not just Molly Weasley, where she goes up against Bellatrix, but it's the McGonagall.
Oh, we bet she gets the...
I've always wanted to do that spell. I just love it.
It's also got the bit I hate in it, which...
And I get shivers when they jump down from the battlements, the statues, and go do your duty, protect our school, and I get shivers all over. I really do.
It's also got the bit in it I don't like, which is the bit with Voldemort and Harry. He says, "Come on, Tom, let's finish this as we started, together." And they jump off the edge, and I think it's dreadful line. It really is. It's
I don't mind it. I quite like it. I think the thing is, when it comes to television and books, or films and books, there have got to be some leeway.
Yeah.
I've got to say that the most disappointed I felt was that they didn't, when they...
There was no Binky. Binky
wasn't involved at all. Winky,
that's it.
She wasn't involved at all, and in case you're wondering, in the book, she's Barty Crouch's house elf.
Yeah.
And she had quite a big part in it. Spew wasn't mentioned at all, which was something that Hermione was trying to deal with, fairness for house elves, spring house
Yeah, I know. I can't think what it stands. I'm trying to think what it stands for, and I can't remember what it stands for. Society
Protection of Elfish Welfare.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can understand why they didn't have that in there, and I understand why they didn't have Winky in there, although it's disappointing.
Yeah.
But I can't understand.
The trouble is that the more they missed out, the further they went into the film, the more they had to try and create to put in, because these things didn't exist that actually did it.
There was a huge fight scene in the book.
Yeah.
And it was going on when Dumbledore and Harry were coming back from picking up the Horcrux. And, I mean, that's a pet peeve of mine. Not a pet hate, but a pet peeve. I understand why they did it. I hate the fact that they had to, which is Dumbledore operated outside of Hogwarts. You can't do that.
Yes, you can.
And in the film,
the
book,
yeah,
he had to walk down to the gates and operate there.
Yeah.
The bit you're thinking of, he used forks.
Oh, right, yeah. What else we got? If you're a wizard, which Hogwarts subject do you think would be your favourite? The last one, this one is.
I've got 3, actually, to be fair. My absolute favourite
I think the favourite one would be potions. I would love to be playing with potions. Or curses. Not curses, charms. Because it's charms and hexes, isn't it?
Mine. Although I must admit, I wouldn't mind giving either of those 2 Darren a go. But honestly, my absolute favourite would be Care for Magical Creatures, because I just love animals. I think there's so much you can learn from them, and I truly feel blessed when the hamsters act the way they do with us.
You don't try not to lose a finger from a glass-ended screw.
No, but then he likes chewing on me.
Not exploding, though.
No. No, Bonnie does that. But no, I absolutely love animals, and I could see myself being very like Hagrid in that respect. I know I didn't mention him with the adults. He is one of my favourites, but the thing is, it's really difficult to actually incorporate him because I have my own Hagrid, who is my uncle. And, I mean, in his younger years, he even looked like him. And he's also quite private and loves animals above all others. And he's fiercely loyal. So, I don't really think of Hagrid because I sort of have him. But, but no, I mean, I loved Robbie Coltrane doing Hagrid. But no, definitely Care for Magical Creatures, followed closely by Defense Against the Dark Arts. Because, to me, that's a necessity to protect my furry babies.
Yeah.
You see? That's my process. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that's all the questions.
See, I could go on about Harry Potter. And, because it's like...
Probably the best answer. We've hit over an hour without editing it so far. So, yeah. We don't really want to. In that case, we don't really want to get these people.
if you can think of any other questions, please ask. I'll only answer what I feel comfortable with, but that's pretty much most things. Yeah. The only time I won't involve it is if it's too much detail into other people's lives.
Yeah.
But no, I've got plenty of funny stories. Yep. And if you don't think of enough, don't worry, because I've got one doozy of one for you next week.
Yep.
So yeah, if I remember it. So guys, I'm going to get Darren to put down the phone, because if we're going to say goodbye, I need something fluffy and fuzzy. And Victoria's asleep. So, alright guys, well, we've got a special treat for you now.
Yep. By here we got
Something fluffy and something not.
We've got the Tiswas, Tyrion, and the Bonnie.
I know. Yes, I know. It's because I'm worried that they'll kiss. Because they do. They lick each other's noses. That's about as far as they get to go.
Yeah.
She smells like Heinz chicken soup again, guys. Just for reference. You've got old sugar cookies down there with vanilla extract in it. Because that's exactly how he smells. I don't know what
What are you sniffing me for? You're a strange woman, you know that, don't you?
He doesn't really smell. He's slightly spicy, but not unpleasant.
Old Spice.
Old Spice.
Old Spice.
Have you been borrowing Grandad's aftershave again?
Yeah.
Look, have you seen her latest thing now is her tissue box. She loves her tissue box. Look at your fur. Go and sort yourself out.
Alright, anyway.
Right. So, it's goodbye from us.
Yep.
Be safe. Be
Have
different. Give your little furry things a cuddle from me. And be different. That sounded way ruder than I actually meant, guys.
See you later.
Bye.